There you go.
Looks like it's getting ready to go.
All right, is it alive yet?
It kind of looks like it's, by the time you get us called to order, we'll be good to go.
Okay. Well, then we'll call this meeting to order on July 6, 2020, 7 p.m.
All righty.
I don't know what yours says. Mine says live.
Okay. I'm just trying to get back to the Zoom instead of, okay, now I'm right back. Okay,
Okay.
we're ready to go. You want me to take roll call?
Yes, please.
Nichols?
Here.
Marcy Harris?
Yes, I am.
Rodebeck?
Here.
Giesler?
Here.
Heatherington?
I'm here.
Newcastle?
Here.
Fredline?
I'm here.
Culpepper?
Here.
Looks like we're all set, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Do we have public comment out there this evening at this time? Anyone online waiting in the lobby?
We have a couple visitors online. We have Dina Judd, we have John Liskey, we have Marcus Brayman. We have Mike and Pete on. So anybody want to speak? We can unmute you.
Let Dina take off.
I don't have anything to say, really.
The market's
Well-
going well.
Tell us how the farmer market going.
That's going pretty good. We're keeping our distance. We have a little washing station. A lot of people are coming down, which is nice. So I think they are enjoying the music that just started last week. It's at a distance too, so it seems good. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I'm doing very well as a vendor as well, so it's good.
Well, good. Okay, well, thank you. You got John in there or whomever else, Paula?
John is on the agenda. I don't know if he has any public comment.
Oh, okay.
And Marcus, are you on?
Yes, yep, I'm here.
You have any public comment?
Yes, I would like to discuss some sort of extension on the June application period due to COVID-19 delays for our special use permit for a cannabis retail and processing building.
So basically what you're asking the council at this point in time for is just an extension on time frame because you have interest in possibly applying.
So we've secured a building, and unfortunately, about the day after we signed the paperwork to secure the building, the stay-at-home order hit, and we couldn't get our engineers out to do the site plan. I spoke with Pete and Michael in April to see if there was any chance to apply without the site plan, because I didn't know when the engineers are going to be able to go. They said that it's a kind of a point of order that you guys always have the site plan. So we move forward with that. The engineers are currently working on it, and I know they're working with Pete to answer some questions, but I currently don't have the engineered site plan in hand yet. And it should have been done, but they weren't able to get out there from March to almost mid-June.
Understandable. Okay.
Item, correct?
Excuse me?
Oh, I had a question for Paula. This is not an agenda item, correct?
That's correct. We do not have that on the agenda tonight. We weren't sure what was going to happen tonight. We did have one applicant, so I guess if the council want this on the agenda, we can add it, or you can deal with it now or later, whatever you see fit.
Yeah, I took a look at the ordinance to extend for 6 months. And, you know, I would like to make a motion to adopt that ordinance to extend the application period for 6 months.
The resolution,
Yes.
Support.
We have a motion to support. Any discussion?
What's the location?
Pete would like to speak, Cassie.
That's what I was wondering where the location is.
It would be the Clocks building.
Oh, the carpet part of it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
If I may, I realize this is the comment period for the council, but if I may address that, we do have another request in that was filed on the June 30th day. However, that particular application does have some issues, and we can talk about that more later on. I want to make clear that I don't anticipate that your resolution to extend is going to affect Mr. Liskey's timeline going forward since he applied on June 30th, because their timeline has been, 6 months out, or that his group doesn't need to wait for that period to elapse before you act on his particular license.
So if we don't extend it, when would be the next time that this person could apply?
That would be up to council. You would be able to, the intent of having the review period is, I think there was a hesitancy that we were going to get overwhelmed with these. We wanted you folks to be able to pool them all together and pick the best of the best. That did not transpire. So due to COVID, I'm so used to saying in light of COVID now, many were possibly delayed. So this kind of opens up a second round of application period.
Do we have to extend it for 6 months?
If I could defer to Mike, I think he had a comment. Mike works with us.
Yes,
Sure.
please.
Yeah, all I wanted to say there was that to kind of speak to Gail's point, we would need a resolution to extend that licensing period regardless of whether if we did want to accept new applications, we would have to have a new resolution in place to have a new application period. Set up initially is that we would have our initial 30 days. And then once that expired, then we would have to do another one in order to consider additional applications. So 6 months or not, we would have to do a resolution to consider other potential applications.
And to follow up on that, we still need to look at Mr. Liskey's, and I'll let you know that Mr. Liskey's application has changed. As Mr. Brayman noted, he's looking at a dispensary and processing. We've only received one application for dispensary where we had a special use permit though that was issued for a micro biz. And I can get into more detail, but I was figuring I'd do that later on. We have an application that could be deemed not administratively complete and rejected. So I think this is the best of both worlds, that one, city council or the city did not get overwhelmed with a lot of applications. Two, it builds on what you intended initially to allow 2 applications for each type of use so that you would not stifle competition among developers.
The second application, would this be with the dispensary like the original one, I guess, that the Liskies have submitted for us to review this evening? Would they be the same?
From what I heard there, Mr. Brayman is looking at a adult use sales dispensary and a processing. Mr. Liskey originally applied under the special use permit for a micro business, which allowed growing, and has now since changed that and is coming forward with a license for an adult use sales dispensary. So it's changed over time. for both parties, I think this is brand new to a lot of folks, and especially us. And we are going to take a look at some of our materials and our application and stuff, because we've learned a lot from Mr. Liskey's original application.
So right now, we've only okayed for a microbrewery with the Liskies. Now they're applying to do the adult, and so is this other person. So we'd have them competing against each other, kind of, right?
We're allowing 2 licenses for the adult use sales. Mr. Liskey originally came forward with his group for a micro business and has changed that. It is going to be our recommendation later tonight that you accept, not approve, accept Mr. Liskey's application for license, because he needs to go back and correct the special land use, because that was for micro business. We want to make sure that we can't have somebody file an application for transport and then later on ask for a license for adult sales, because that's going to mess up our numbers.
So when he requested adult sales, was it in the time frame, or is he also not in the time frame that was?
There's 2 things here. First, you have to get a special use permit, and that was a micro business request. And then remember, we had the conversations about growing, and I had concerns with enforcement. And then, so when it came down to it to meet the deadline, they decided that they were going to go with the adult sales instead of the micro business. So we have some conflicts. I think Mr. Liskey has a comment as well, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Liskey, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'll be brief. So just to give a little background, the micro business special use permit permitted 3 uses on that property. A grow up to 150 plants, processing, and sales, retail sales. And so we have now decided to eliminate 2 of those 3 and just do the retail sales. So it's we've narrowed the use, and certainly if we'll abide by whatever you all decide. Whatever Pete recommends is fine with us.
Okay, I have a question because the term processing has been used versus retail sales or adult sales. What is the actual term of processing?
Well, they're defined under our ordinance for processing. That's the turning a raw product into a retail product. It does not involve the actual growing. They would receive a product, they would transform that into a retail saleable product. The micro business is set up to be a stool with 3 legs, in my opinion. And that is grow, that is process, and that is sales. Taking one of those out of that, if you just say, well, now we've decided to do sales, the micro business special use permit and regulation under the state says that you can only sell what you grow. So if you take those 2 legs of the stool out, we're really not a micro business anymore. We're an adult use sales. So the idea is that if you look at Mr. Liskey's application, it is for adult sales, for adult sale of marijuana, recreational, but the special use permit, the foundation is not there. It was for a micro business. Now, you recall the Planning Commission did not receive an extensive amount of public comment. There was no opposition. It was a move forward. So we don't anticipate, but I also don't want City Council to approve their license tonight when the foundation is not there.
Then also, I had questions as well. I see there's a couple gentlemen, so the couple gentlemen that's gonna be doing this, unless I looked at it wrong on my packet that I received, I guess, on my phone, but I thought it was Mr. Liskey's ex-wife and her son doing this. Now I don't even see her in the picture. Things have totally changed into a loop, so I don't know. You got 2 guys doing this, and it's not the original that we discussed in the first place. So I guess I'm a little confused on that. So everything just got turned around on our original you know, what we agreed upon, everything else, everything's changed.
Well, the benefit, I think, is that, you know, council already approved to have 4 licenses. And in those 4 licenses that we've already approved, there were 2 micro businesses. The micro business is a grow shop along with processing and sales.
Right.
What was our issue with the grow shop? What
Smell.
was it?
Smell.
The smell.
Odor.
Now,
Relation.
yes, well, now what we're doing is taking that off the table and building a foundation where they're not going to be growing it in town. They'll be processing it just like Tammy's Bakery turns flour into cinnamon rolls. They will be getting their raw product from elsewhere, and then they will be doing the processing and sales in town. That takes away our main concern that we spent 20 minutes on, maybe even a half hour about the odor. So, you know, I am absolutely in favor of this.
Well, with Mr. Liskey speaking about his business and bringing it in, it's deterred from where we started, and we need to get back to that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a motion on the floor to approve the extension, not to approve
Right.
anything else.
Exactly. And so, and that's why I asked for discussion, and it's been seconded. Is there anything that has not been discussed that somebody wants to get off their mind concerning the extension?
Yeah, so. do
John
you
would like
feel-
to speak.
Okay. Okay, who, can I speak wherever after? Go ahead. Rosemary?
Rosemary's here.
Oh, who wanted to speak?
John
Oh,
did, but
not
maybe he
me.
changed his mind.
Okay, I wanted to speak for a second. The only thing I'm concerned about is that I understand we want to do an extension, but have we really notified the public enough for them to come and make comments tonight? Because, I mean, I just received this today about this extension.
Well,
I don't know why we'd want to do it tonight, I guess. That's just my opinion. I
well,
keep doing
the
it.
only reason we're extending it is to fulfill applicants, and you have a chance to either they make it or they don't make it through the city's guidelines and the states. All we're doing is extending the time to get people to put in for another business.
And then we
Yeah,
can
I mean,
review it after that. So
There
I
are
have a problem
certain,
with that.
yeah, there are certain requirements, you know, site planning. You have to bring engineers in before you can even think about getting your site approved. And if we say no tonight, all that stops. Done. I wouldn't invest the money hoping that I might be able to sometime in the future convince a different council to let me in. I would just drop it right here and be done with it. And that's going to take money out of off the tax rolls. And it's also going to do something that we've already agreed upon.
So you're saying.
We've already
tonight-
agreed for 4 licenses. And because COVID came and went and you couldn't get in, now I guess you're done, because, you know, I wouldn't invest any money on the chance that we'll create some new deadline somewhere down the road.
So basically, if we don't extend it, John would not be able to do something. That's what you're saying.
Well,
Not
that
necessarily.
depends, because John is trying to change his special use permit. He's already applied. We haven't approved the license yet, but anybody else who wants to come in would not be able to come in. Wouldn't even be able to apply because June 30th was the deadline. Is that accurate?
It is to my knowledge. What about Pete?
Well, again, I think we're getting into a philosophical debate here.
Right.
Your original approval was to allow 2 licenses for each of the different types of uses. That was to do 2 things. That was, 1, give the city council some choice. It was also to promote some, have respective competition so that you did not have a monopoly. If you decided not to extend anymore, this is the only application that you're accepting, and it's an application that does have a flaw in it, then you would essentially be creating a monopoly for that. And that's another philosophical question, if you want to do that.
When you say a monopoly, you mean that we can't then say we want to open it up because the deadline was passed and we can't open it up again?
Yes, you can open up again, but that's what the request is. You have somebody that has purchased real estate. You have someone that is moving forward. Their engineers have been in contact with us. They just couldn't get traction. So if you decide, well, we'll go through this application with Mr. Liskey, what's been filed, then we'll do something in January. I go back to Mr. Fredline's comments. Why would I want to invest money where I don't have a place that's going to have some sort of consistency?
Which I don't have a problem extending it. So maybe that'll give us a chance to the next meeting review things or whatever too as well, since things are changing. So I think we had to extend it 6 months.
Any other comment?
John
Hello?
has his hand up.
I just wanted to reply to Marcy. The reason, once we decided to drop the growing and address your concerns for, not your concerns, but other people's concerns regarding odor, we had to hook up with a grower, a licensed grower that has an existing license. And that's why they are located over by the airport. And so therefore all the growing would be over there and we would sell their product. We did not apply for processing. We never intended to process because that's a whole different ball of wax. With regards to my former wife, Rhonda, she decided that once the micro business thing wasn't viable, she'd rather remain a caregiver. However, she can still work at the place.
Yeah.
So that's why she's not on the license.
And that's why I kind of wanted what was going on with it, because I had no idea. I'm thinking, why did that change? And it's like, wait a minute, this is totally different than what we discussed. And that's what threw me for a little bit of a loop. So, okay, it makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Paula?
All righty, we ready for a roll call? Nichols,
Yes.
Rodebeck,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Heatherington,
Yes.
Newcastle,
Yeah.
Redline,
No, I'm just kidding. Yes.
Culpepper.
Yes. The application period is accepted. It's extended for 6 months, if I understood the motion correctly. So get your papers turned in. All right, move on to, is there any other public comment out there concerning anything else other than this?
Rosemary Ridsdale is on there with the DDA budget. Because I wasn't sure with us having our Zoom meeting, if they were gonna actually be able to present or not, but she is able to get on tonight. So I wanted to share the screen with you guys, whoever can see it. And Rosemary, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So if you can see it, the DDA budget that they proposed is on the screen.
Right, so on the budget, I'm showing the summary of 2019, 2020, and then our proposed 2021. At the top, the first 5 are the revenues. We've estimated that the revenues will increase a little bit this year. And then in expenditures, these are our large buckets for the DDA. And we're expecting this year to have a little bit of a smaller budget, around 14.5 roughly, 14.4 roughly, less in expenditures this year. And then the DDA would be talking about some projects in the future for some of the money that's in balance. Are there any questions about specific areas within the budget?
Yeah, just looking at professional services, what is the anticipated reduction due to? Line item 4.
So, yeah, this year we have professional services that were helping us redo. Paula, help me.
Okay, you had it, so I was letting you go, but we're redoing the TIFA plan. We're updating the plan that has never been updated since inception in 19. So what's moved to 2021 is just the remainder of the contract.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula.
Yep.
So the music in the park and the movie in the park, the time frame cuts off in June, right?
Their fiscal year is June 30th.
There wasn't anything in 19?
I
July?
didn't see any.
Okay.
1920 is the year we're in right now, so no, there wasn't.
Well, I would have thought July 2019, I would have thought there would have been, but that's fine.
Well, they paid it in the previous year, Gail. They probably paid it in June, so it hit 1819.
Okay.
But we have it in the 2021 budget.
Yeah, I see
Right.
that, yeah.
It was there, so it's already prepaid before July most likely, and it's just next year's the same amount.
So is this just a review or do we need a motion to accept?
We need a motion. Council always has to approve the DDA budget.
So
Right.
moved.
I'll second.
We have
Yeah.
a motion and second by Mr. Fred Line and Mrs. Geisler. Any discussion other than we've had?
Could you scroll down a little bit?
Oops, sorry. I thought you were done.
Never mind. I'm good.
Okay, are you sure?
Yeah. Yep, I'm sure.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I guess we're ready for you.
Nichols,
Yes.
Rotabeck,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Heatherington,
Yes.
Newcastle,
Yes.
Fredline. Fredline, oh, he's muted.
Yes.
Fredline,
Yeah.
Culpepper.
Yes.
All right, thanks, Rosemary.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank
Goodbye.
you.
Bye now.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, we'll move on to approve the minutes of June 1st, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? Okay, Paula?
Nichols,
Yes.
Rotabeck,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Heatherington,
Yes.
Newcastle,
Yes.
Fredline,
Yes.
Culpepper.
Yes. Motion carried to approve minutes of June 1st, 2020. Treasurer's report.
Motion to accept.
Second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? No discussion? Roll call?
Nichols,
Yes.
Rotabeck,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Heatherington,
Yes.
Newcastle,
Yes.
Fredline,
Yes.
Culpepper.
Yes. Motion carried to accept the treasury report. Item number 5 is extension of agreement for assessor of record services with HSC Services Incorporated. which we've had those services for, I think, what, 15 years or something like that, Paula?
Yeah, quite a while.
Yeah, and they go up $100 a year.
You need a motion to approve or to renew this contract?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
I second.
Motion by Mr. Rodeback, second by Mrs. Nichols. Any discussion? Roll call.
Nichols,
Yes.
Rodeback,
Yes,
Geisler,
Yes.
Heatherington,
Yes.
Newcastle,
yes,
Redline,
Yes.
Culpepper.
Yes. Motion carried to extend the agreement with HSC Services Incorporated. Item number 6 is the leaf vac.
David?
okay. Well,
No.
the old leaf vac is pretty much gone, so I guess it's time to look at buying a new one. And the only thing we have a problem with is how we're gonna pay for it. Paula, Dave said that you and him were talking about different options. Do you have those?
It would be my
breakdowns?
recommendation that we buy it with a loan because interest rates are so low. It doesn't make any sense to pull all that cash out of the bank to me.
Yep.
So that was out of the capital outlay fund, we would just make a payment.
Well, the best leaf vac that we found was one for, it's $40,000 or $40,601. And that includes the delivery. If we can engage in a payment program or a loan for it, I would like to make that motion that we do so.
And I second that. We definitely need it.
We have a motion to purchase a leaf vac for approximately $40,000. We have a second. Any discussion? It is a nice leaf vac. I seen it this afternoon. Dave seems to be impressed with the other guys, so I don't know
They
what
probably won't.
Ryan felt for
No,
sure.
They probably don't know how to act because it's new and they're not having to, some old thing that they're having to patch up and repair constantly.
Yeah, and we've set up an expectation with the citizens that we are going to pick up their yard waste. And we haven't been able to do that. Like Paula said, I would prefer that we finance it so we just don't have to cut them a check. But also in conversation with the I guess it's called a dealership or wherever you get this thing, they only have 3 available and 2 of them are gasoline and 1 of them is diesel, and they may not have them available for the fall cleanup. They don't know when they're going to get inventory again, maybe not until January. So, you know, we can't go 2 years without fall cleanup unless you let us burn again, which I kind of like that, but you know, that discussion is over.
So it seems like what, last 3 years are better that the thing's been broke down, couldn't use it. So
We get spotty use out of it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. The rest of the time, we're out there with a rake and a backhoe picking stuff up.
Well,
worked on it every, since we got it.
yeah, that's the whole thing. I went down with Gary and drove to Columbus, Ohio and picked that thing up. And before we got it back, we had to have it all rewired to get lights for darkness. And we've had it for a period of time, at least close to 15 years. And as Brian had said, the one we looked at this afternoon that was at City Hall is headed to Houghton Lake tomorrow morning unless we buy this sweeper, because it's the last one in the state. So that's what I know about it. I know Dave really liked it in his group, so it's up to the council to decide what they want to do for them and get them going. So
I think it's a very smart move on the city's part to buy that, make payments on it.
So then we make a motion to go ahead and purchase it through payment.
And actually, I think we already had a motion on the floor, I believe, and a second. We were just in discussion, so I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we would be.
Oh,
at
that's
roll call.
correct. We have a motion and a second.
Okay, so we're at roll call now.
Are you guys ready?
I think we are, unless somebody has any more comments. Okay, we go.
Nichols,
Yes, for sure.
Rotabeck,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Heatherington,
Yes.
Newcastle,
Yes.
Redline,
Yes.
and Culpepper.
Yes. Motion carried to purchase a new leaf vac on payment plans set up with the city and whomever. So, item number 7 then is appointments and resignation from various boards. There is one that I know most of you don't know, and I don't even know if Paula knows for sure. There is one on here. I'm trying to find I got a hard copy of the stuff. Danny Apicelli cannot serve on the library board any longer, she said, as of this afternoon.
Yeah.
So, other than that, all the rest of it's in order that I know of. Is that correct, Paula?
Yes, I sent out an email to everyone about Danny.
Okay. So,
Do we have to go through these one by one, or can we just?
No,
make
I wanted you to just, accept them as I put them together.
Motion to accept.
Support.
Second.
we got seconds, Alan, David. Discussion.
So it's the resignation and the reappointments that were,
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
So basically that would leave us with,
Because I think Danny did resign, right? So shouldn't she be up there with Harriet?
Well, she should be, but on paper, she didn't have a chance to get moved.
I did not
Right,
know
I'm
that
just saying.
until this morning, Gail.
Right. No, I
So
know that. I'm
they-
just saying. So we're basically, there's 2 resignation and then all these people to be appointed.
Right, so on the library board, we need 3 people.
3 people?
Yeah, we have Tanya Robinson, Henrietta, and Danny Apicelli. All need to be replaced on the library board.
Oh, I didn't know about that other one.
And I have never heard from the people that you told me were gonna contact us.
So one of them backed out.
So basically, in case anybody,
Yeah.
right now, there's not enough people to even meet on the library board at this point.
We
Sounds like
had-
the mayor's still got work to do.
I
So-
have one that I think will do it, but I
And so
thought I had 2.
So basically that we're just accepting, Tanya Robinson basically resigned. Henrietta and Danny just did not want to renew.
Right.
Everyone else, Greg Beavers, Dina Judd, Dave Shinsky, Richard Dar, Aaron Budnick, and Gene Austin are all renewals.
And Aaron is new and he's gonna be on the DDA and he has a State Farm building downtown around the
That's
corner.
correct.
It's Farm Bureau. It's not
Or
State
Farm Bureau, I'm sorry. He'd shoot me.
Uh-huh.
So that's the motion then, to accept those people that have resigned or do not want to renew, and to accept the renewals and the 1 new person. Is that correct?
That's the way I see it and understand it.
Okay, and I had a motion from Brian and a second from Rotabeck.
I
Correct.
believe that's correct.
Okay,
So your turn.
Nichols,
Yes.
Rotabeck,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Heatherington,
Yes.
Newcastle,
Yes.
Redline,
Yes.
Culpepper.
Yes.
All righty.
All right, motion is carried.
The mayor got a lot done there, but we're a little short still.
Yeah, well, we still got a little bit more to go. Now that people are moving around a little bit more, maybe it'll be easier to contact. All right, item number 8. No parking McClintock Street traffic control order. I seen the chief pop
That
up
leaves-
a few times.
So we need to unmute Dan, or Dan needs to unmute himself.
Do my, how do you do it?
Dan?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Oh, okay. Due to the congestion that typically happens on McClintock Street when we have special events. I know that once the amphitheater gets done, we're going to continue to have that parking problem, especially with an ambulance or a fire truck trying to get through. So I'm proposing that we have no parking on both sides of McClintock from North Lang Street all the way to Shiawassee Street. In case there are any medical emergencies that take place at McClintock Park, we can get the necessary people there.
So that's gonna be permanent, that's what you want?
Correct.
So before, sometimes we had food trucks there, so they wouldn't be allowed there. But is there some place, I guess?
That's
Well,
different, Gail. We closed the street for the food trucks.
Okay.
Yeah, we can still
talking about just
close the
people
street for that.
parking.
Okay.
And I'm also thinking about next year's springtime carnival. A lot of people park through there because, you know, the limited parking in town. So that would stop that. That might be a good thing, I guess, too. So
Well,
I was just thinking
correct.
about that as well.
Because right now, typically, right by the post office there, going down the hill, if people wanted to, they could park there because it's still not signed, which is, again, a traffic hazard.
It's a real problem when people park there.
So you need a motion to approve the ordinance?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
We had Gail and Marcy second.
Okay,
Roll call.
Nichols,
Yes.
Rodebeck,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Heatherington,
Yes.
Newcastle,
Yes.
Redline,
Yes.
Culpepper.
Yes. Motion carried. Street is closed. Item number 9, unless there's something else.
Nope.
I had a
Alright.
question. I had a quick question, I guess. Now that you're talking about right up in that area on that bulldozer, what does the abbreviation stand for on the blade of that? Is that graffiti or is that something that was just spray paint for whatever reason?
What?
On
I was-
that bulldozer sitting on the hill there?
There's
Yeah, I
something
was
painted
told
on the,
that. Yeah, I was told that it was done by one of his employees, reference to the owner being involved with Bitcoin. So I'm not sure the whole reason behind it, but it's not the graffiti.
Gotcha. I'm just wondering because MSU is having a problem with that right now with their police department. Different things that are being done. So I didn't know if that had something to do with you guys or what. So just curious.
Nope.
Hopefully nothing in town's having that go on. What's going on there?
well, we'll hope not. All right, number 9, marijuana licensing request from Mr. Linsky. And I'm not sure what there is to add to what you had to say, Mr. Linsky, but if there's anything else, I guess now would be the time for you to say it, and then we'll get some discussion afterwards.
Well, if I could let Pete speak first.
Yes, that's fine.
Pete's trying to figure out his computer here. Hold on a second.
You're not the only one.
Okay, I'm gonna look at this screen, but my picture's up on that screen, so,
We see you, Pete.
okay.
That's all that matters.
Essentially, as I described before, Mr. Liskey came forward with with his partners there, a micro business. The planning commission moved through there. There was moved through the application. The city council moved through the application. There was not extensive public comment or any folks that wanted this not to happen. So council moved through that. Somewhere along the way, it was decided as a business decision to transition to an adult type regulation or adult, pardon me, recreational sale. So Mr. Liskey did contact us initially and say, hey, I'm going to do the micro business license still, but I'm only going to do the retail component. And under a micro business though, what everybody was led up to believe in the beginning and with the application for special use permit, cannot sell what it does not grow. So it was us that encouraged that, hey, we need to go the other way. We were a little surprised that the dispensary or the adult sales came when we also had this outstanding special use permit issue. However, after a lot of conversation last week and today, looking at what's being provided to us, looking at Mr. Liskey's cover letter that came along with the licensing, acknowledging that the city has 90 days now to review this, we thought it was appropriate that under the previous deadline that the city council accept, not approve, just accept, acknowledging that there is one component that most likely needs to be cleaned up, and that would be the special use permit to change to an adult sales, recreational adult sales, so that the city council can move forward with their review of it within the 90-day period that they're allotted. So it's going to be up to the planning commission. It's going to be up to the city council, if you accept this tonight, how quickly to move forward within that 90 days. And we also need to review the licensing application as well, so that you can attest to the state with all confidence, yes, this applicant meets our zoning ordinance and other requirements that we laid out before them.
Motion to accept the application.
Second.
A motion by Fredline and second by Nichols. Discussion.
I mean, we've beaten this thing
Yeah.
for the last 6 months. And I think more than any other municipality that I'm familiar with, we have done our due diligence between John and Pete and Paula and all of us being in the loop. And I don't need to read through a 40-page application again. That's why we pay these folks to do it. And if Pete, your recommendation is that we accept, not approve, correct?
Correct.
And that is the motion, that we accept the application.
And is that the second?
Yes.
I'll second.
Okay, I want to be sure that was, you knew what your how it was worded for your second.
Yep.
And we've had discussion. Anything else? Paula. Roll call, please.
So with that acceptance, I mean, how do we move to approval?
Well, we'll take a look at the license. We have staff that help develop the license requirements and stuff for the city. We have staff that is very familiar with the license requirement of the states. And so the staff that will also, and has been working with the special use permit. So once all those things are shored up, we'll come back with a recommendation to city council that we feel that everything's met, or we feel that these 2 or 3 items are not met within your 90-day review period that you're allotted.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure the council knew what was next.
Yes.
Okay. Nichols,
Yes.
Rodebeck,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Heatherington,
Yes.
Newcastle,
Yes.
Fredline,
Yes.
Culpepper.
Yes. Motion carried or passed. All right. Is there anything else under that? We're all set until the next step, right? So item number 10 then. Outdoor seating areas.
I just wasn't sure if the council felt that they needed to make a motion to close those parking spaces, or they had any comments about the outdoor seating. It seems to be very popular, and I just wanted to make sure that everyone was in approval of what we have going on.
It looks really nice.
Agreed.
I'm all for it. You know that.
Except for on the real hot days like this week, you won't see too many people probably sitting out there unless later in the evening. It's pretty hot, I'm sure, out there.
When I came through at 5, it was all full.
Really? Wow. It's all weekend. It hasn't been, so it was pretty miserable.
Well, 4th of July, everybody was gone too. Most everybody, but All right,
Okay. No,
So-
nothing necessary then.
What
Okay.
I would say is great job getting that grant.
Yes.
Great job. Paula, I saw you out there with a bunch of little Girl Scouts or something.
Yeah,
You know, planting the planters by the park and then distributing them. And then DPW did a great job today. They were working on it for half a day, you know, just, I think it's very positive.
we've had real good feedback, so.
lots of good
definitely,
feedback.
it definitely makes town look a lot more friendlier coming through. We don't see a bunch of garage doors. We see outdoor seating, so looks great.
It's amazing what a few tables and chairs will do. It's.
I know, who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Yeah, and they were free.
Yes.
That's right.
And you never know who lives around the corner, right, Paula?
That's right.
So,
Turns out my neighbor worked at the place that we were trying to get them from, and he works in Elma, and he delivered
Oh,
them
wow.
to us for free.
That's cool. Very cool.
That's what you call networking.
Yes, indeed.
so,
You don't find that very often.
all right, I guess as we're into the pay the bills.
So moved.
Second, we gotta pay them bills.
We have a motion to pay the bills. We have a motion and a second. Do we have discussion? Then we have roll call.
Nichols,
Yes.
Rotabeck,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Heatherington,
Yes.
Ducastle,
Yep.
Fredline,
Yes.
Culpepper.
Yes. Motion to pay the bills carried.
Hey, Mike, speaking of bills, do we have the check signed or do we need to do that physically or what?
Yeah, you and Mike will have to sign them.
Okay, we'll do that tomorrow.
Yep, so we'll figure out a plan with, maybe with Dan or somebody, or one of us get them at the office and the other one drop it off, so
Okay.
we'll get them taken care of the day, tomorrow. So,
I have a question too as well. So is the office closed on to the public coming in paying sewer bills, or you still gotta drop it in the mailbox?
Yes, we're closed to the public
Okay.
without an appointment, or if somebody, really needs something, we let them in, but we don't feel it necessary for everyone to come in and make their sewer payment.
Well, I'm just asking because I pay mine in cash, not check anymore. So
We will take cash.
hopefully the box is secure.
Well, you can make an appointment and we'll just let you in and drop it off. We just don't want to line up with people coming in to pay and the waiting
I
room
don't
is
blame you.
small.
I don't blame you. I got you. Okay, I can do that.
okay, committee reports, is there anything that anyone wants to cover specifically, or you have them all in your packet? So I don't know if we need to recover, but if somebody would like to speak about their committee.
Oh, I had a question too when Dan gets to his, if he's gonna go out over his. For the police department.
Is
I'm
Dan-
on. I didn't have anything to go over. What'd you have, Marcy?
Well, on that, their demonstration over in Owasso, how, was it that bad with, that many demonstrators to have us come and whoever else do? I guess my question.
Well, they had about 200 demonstrators there.
Wow.
So they asked for mutual aid, and we have a mutual aid agreement with all the agencies in Shiawassee County. So I told the Owasso police chief that we would assist them.
Gotcha. That's what I was wondering. I seen that in there. I was like, holy crap. I didn't realize they had a protest there, I guess, because it's never mentioned on the news, media stuff. So I was just curious on that and why Langsburg got called, I guess.
Well, they had reached out to all the agencies in Shiawassee County. So we had as many because you never know who was going to show up and if any problems were going to persist. So it was
Gotcha.
peaceful and nothing transpired.
Very cool.
And I will reiterate that the chief did touch base with me probably close to 2 weeks before that date and told me that they had asked for assistance to come over and try to make sure things didn't happen. And I told him that if they're asking, then we need to supply. So you know, it's part of the agreement. So he didn't have any idea how many people were gonna be there, and I'm glad it was only 200 myself, but
Right, nothing got out of hand. None of our officers got injured, so I'm happy.
Right,
happy.
and they asked me, they asked me to help with them because I'd been in a lot of the different protests and riots in East Lansing. So we were able to put a plan together for different squads that we have and stuff. So it worked out well.
But you know, I'm glad they have you to do that because they probably don't have anybody else who could do that. So very blessed with that. Thank you, Dan.
Thanks.
Okay, DPW, I've got a couple things here if you got it.
okay, yep.
Okay, it's time to purchase some tires for a couple of vehicles. 2006 Chevrolet. We've got the best price that we've come up with was at Alltech Automotive for $660 for purchase for four tires. And I'd like to make motion to approve that.
What are these gonna go on?
This is for the 2006 Chevy.
The green truck, is that what you,
Green truck. Yep.
okay,
Yeah, I'll support that. That's actually pretty cheap for truck tires.
I'll second.
so did you make a motion, Brian? It cut out.
No.
Yeah, he did.
Dave
No.
made the motion, Gail seconded.
Oh, okay, because it cut out here and I didn't hear, so. All right, so we're into any further discussion? If not, roll call?
Nichols,
Yes.
Rodabat,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Heatherington,
Yes.
Newcastle,
Yes.
Fredline,
Yes.
Culpepper.
Yes. Motion
Okay.
carried.
I have another purchase for tires for the 2008 Ford F550. It's a dually, so you get an extra set of tires. Price on that's $1,266.58. Again, that's at Alltech Automotive. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase for those tires.
I'll make the motion.
Dave made the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'll second it.
So which vehicle is that now?
That's the F550 Ford.
It's the blue 1-ton dump.
The main vehicle. Is there any discussion on that?
We ought to be good to go for a while with the vehicles and everything else down there.
Yeah, so,
This done.
so we need a vote on the $1,266.
Nichols,
Yes.
Rodabat,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Heatherington,
Yes.
Newcastle,
Yes.
Culpepper,
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
oh, I skipped you, Fredline, sorry. I marked you.
Sun was in her eyes. Motion
that's-
carried to purchase the tires, so,
That's all I have.
all right. Anyone else under their committees that has a highlight or a point that has to be brought up?
I've got a highlight. If you guys look at the very last page of your packet, it's going
Yes.
to be somebody who went out of their way to thank our chief. And, you know, they put in here, you are patient while we all ugly cried. Dan, that's a hard part of your job. Extremely hard to be there for other people like this. And the fact that they took the time to write you a thank you note really just shows your professionalism, your dedication, and your compassion for other people, Dan. So good job.
And if it means anything, I got teary-eyed when I read it. I don't hardly get teary-eyed, but that did it. Thanks, Dan. You're awesome. Man, that was rough reading that.
Well, I'm glad you brought it forth, Mary. I was gonna bring it forth too, because it can't be overlooked. We've got some advantages with our chief, and of course, we always have our own disadvantages, so it's a thank you very much, good Vata boy, and I'm proud to say that you are our chief, Dan. Thank you.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Is there anything else that this,
I want to speak for a second. So I know we've agreed next month to talk about events possibility or of having them or not having them. Had been over the music in the park for the last few years. Jack is the one that kind of lines up the talent, but I'm the one that, you know, gets the sponsors and, you know, does some of that kind of stuff. I am getting some, what do I want to say? Pressure that they want to do stuff. And I don't know if I'm going to have to step aside or what, but I wanted, I guess, your guys' thought about, they did have music down there in the streets. And was everybody okay with that, I guess?
I don't have a problem with it. As long as social distancing's practiced, I guess.
I thought we had shut it down to relook at it again in August. Is that still in place or?
It is, but then what happens is if we meet in August, then we have to line bands up and it just doesn't like happen immediately. And so they're actually looking at other venues, which I really am sad about, but it is what it is. So I just wanted people aware of it because I feel like that if I didn't say anything to you guys and then it does come to, you know, that ends up happening, then I feel like that I'm not doing a good job for the council, I guess.
what happened to the music? Greg called me about having it at the golf course.
It's a possibility, yes.
Well, I mean,
But we
People-
have to,
people want to do things, but for us to feel that we have to open up the city to infect everybody, if that would be the word to say,
right.
I'm not sure I'm very comfortable with that. Now, the plan that he sent out for the music per se at the golf course, I would hope it was temporary, but I know he might have other thoughts. But the idea of it is it gives people a place to go. They get to,
Right.
if the state allows it, they get to consume, they get to do whatever they want out there and they got all kinds of space. I'm all for that because
Okay.
it is outside away and he's gonna box everybody 10 foot apart. Who's gonna do that here in the park?
Well, they're not doing it now.
I'm really, I guess I'm a skittish person, but this East
you're-
Lansing deal and over the weekend and
Right.
everything, you're
Oh,
not
yeah.
anywhere close to opening this city up.
Oh, I understand. I'm just saying you're okay with them doing it on the streets down in town, though.
I didn't know they were doing it on the streets.
I didn't either.
No
Hey,
one's asked me. So
listen.
I don't know. This is the first question I've seen of it.
Listen, if we follow the science.
Right.
It's possible. If you don't follow the science and the guidelines, it's impossible. Now we're at phase 4 right now. The governor said 3 days ago, we may have to drop into phase 3 and go back into, shutting all the bars and restaurants and things like that.
Right.
And that's why we wanted to talk about it from a month ago. Well, we've had a pretty damn good month with COVID control. So if they want to get back, well, within, notwithstanding the last 5 days, but if they want to get back to a place that they can do it safely, socially distanced, and be of service to our citizenry, then if it's under the guidelines, it's legal, go ahead and do it. But right now, not only us, but a lot of states are trending backwards and it's scary. So we take the guidance of the science, we take the guidance of the governor and her epidemiologist, and they will, and the CDC, and they will tell us when it's safe. And right now, they're saying it's safe if you follow the guidelines.
I wish we lived up north. We wouldn't be dealing with this. Nothing be shut down, be open.
So my
Yeah.
question is, we can't prevent local businesses from having something, correct?
That's correct.
I mean, as long as they fall within the social, if they're meeting the, whatever the guidelines are, I mean, I thought she already shut down some of the bars and stuff to indoor seating again. Is that not true?
She
Yeah,
did.
it depends on how much they make off of alcohol. You are
Yeah,
correct.
Paul,
So, I mean,
understand-
how do we stop the golf course or the bar from having, entertainment?
Well, what the guidelines are 70% of food sales, okay? Well, that was easy when you're doing takeout, when everything was locked down. So, I mean, I don't know how the golf course could get away with it doing that because they ain't 70% food. I don't see where there's food served in there. There's other establishments that aren't 70% food and they're having to serve people in this hot heat
Well, the golf
outside
course-
on their
I
patio.
guess
The
my
golf course
question
is
is,
not
who's
a
policing
restaurant
this?
or a bar, so.
Who's policing this?
I don't know. Last I knew, the state was gonna be looking at businesses. Liquor control is gonna be looking at that stuff. I know that because I work with a coworker that his son works for him, and I was told that. So,
Dan, do you have anything or any input on crowd control or how we would manage this?
Well, reference to, the open area, if somebody wants to start playing music, they can. We're not really going to regulate that. If Greg wants to, then he takes on that responsibility. And again, that's private property. So we're not going to enforce a whole lot of that. If he wants to have, I guess, music in the park, that's up to him. I guess if it's open to our city, we would have to look at the social distancing. And again, I guess we probably should wait till August. But like Gail said, it's hard to set up the group. So, everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing, reference to social distancing. If they want to follow it, they'll follow it. If they don't, they don't. So, as a police agency, I don't see that we're going to be telling a whole lot of people that they're not social distancing.
Hey, if anybody does not know what that means, social distancing and wearing masks when you can't social distance, or if you're inside wearing masks altogether, then you're not going to stop them anyway. If they don't know and if they don't care,
exactly,
then, they're going to do their thing.
I mean, if Twilligers wants to have somebody down there for music, I'm not sure how we put a stop to that, but as far as our end goes, how do we open our park up to music in the park and say, we're only gonna authorize 50 people? I mean, and we have to put out arrows and they have to be 6 feet apart and.
you have to have someone stand there saying you got to wear a mask.
No.
And then what about who's gonna be there to keep the bathroom cleans? And we have a lot to think about if we open up to music.
Municipality is different from private property.
Right.
I would be hesitant to have movies in the park without getting the absolute green light on a municipal activity coming together, like opening, a municipal pool or something and inviting people and advertising. I would be hesitant about that. What Mike said, if you want private property, go out to the golf course, park your golf carts 10 feet away from each other, sit there, drink a beer and listen to people play music. We can't really regulate that. We can certainly, admonish them, but there's enough of that going around right now.
But Brian, at that point, it takes the liability off the city. So, I mean, I understand that.
That's my concern. And if Gail wants to work with private business owners and try and line up something, if she's got the hookup for the music, or, we can't stop them because the governor says it's okay.
Right.
I mean, look what happened at Harper's.
Right.
But as a city, we can't sponsor, or I feel we shouldn't sponsor this.
But your private places can, I guess.
And if the citizens say, why can't we do it? We'll say, well, go up and talk to the guy at the golf course.
Right.
Because we can't do this as a municipality without incurring a lot of liability.
Correct. Yep.
And I would think people like the Clarkstons would understand what we are doing as a municipality. And I thought they were extremely excited about our amphitheater. In August, our park is going to be completely tore up.
Right.
Putting in our new amphitheater. So, I mean, I don't know what to say, but I don't know how you're gonna do music in the park in August anyways.
Right. Yep. Totally agree on that.
So we don't need a motion or anything. We just need to give Gail some support and guidance.
So no for the city, I guess, on that, right? So private individuals, that's fine, but city liability, no. At this
Well,
Hey,
point.
Gail, you're muted. You've been trying to talk, I think, but we're not hearing you.
The city don't need it right now.
How long have I been muted, Paula?
Since your dog barked.
I didn't have a dog.
Oh, well, I thought I heard a dog bark and then you went mute. So I'm like, oh, maybe it was your dog.
No.
Might have been mine.
Was it a long time that I was muted though?
Oh,
No.
almost this whole discussion.
Okay. Yeah, I have mixed feelings. I am getting pressure, and I've always been in charge of this. I'm not sure where I'm going to stand on it. So
Now, Gail,
What do you mean you're getting pressure? How?
Jack wants it to happen, and he feels like that we made agreements with some of these bands and other
Well, who's
cities
we?
are having. Well, it's not the city, it's the LBCA. And so I didn't sign anything with any of them. It was
COVID-19, nothing
Right.
more to say.
no, I know, but he says his reputation, like he didn't make them
Well-
sign anything. And there's this, I'm just telling you what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like,
COVID-19, who knows what the heck's gonna go on with the liability of the city? We don't need it. So.
and
don't
I
know why
agree.
it's any
It's not that I don't agree. I'm just telling you where I am as far as
Right.
feeling
Well,
the pressure.
I believe that my opinion is only a small portion of this council, but the part of the fact is outside people that have money to gain
Hmm? Yep.
in this city, putting pressure on a city councilman
Yes.
to
Is
have
wrong.
something because of COVID-19 that we're debating anyway is wrong as
Yes,
far
it
as his
is.
place.
Yep.
He should be letting this decision be made with no pressure on you. And as the LBCA, as far as my opinion, if you guys decide to hold it at the golf course under Greg's direction and his property, fine. But there is the fear in my mind that the possibility that if it is accepted now, if he could turn it into happening, he might want it to happen all the time, every summer.
Yep.
I know.
That's the only risk I see behind it, but it can make the music go on and entertain the people. But to me, the vendors putting pressure on you and pushing you into trying to do something, or the council, I think that's wrong.
Yes, it is.
If
Well-
he didn't sign a contract, he didn't
I
want
don't
the
think-
contract.
Hold on. I don't think it's wrong. They strong arm us all the time. Why didn't you show up to this meeting and talk to us directly so that we
Exactly.
could make a
Exactly.
decision? No, you're just putting
Well,
pressure.
he might come next time because he knew we weren't talking about it this time.
Right,
but-
and I hope he does. And we can share with him our concerns, and if he can either allay those concerns or meet them all together, then we make a decision as a council. But right now, yeah.
So I'll be
You know, that could have been under others tonight, so he could have come on tonight.
Yeah, he could have, yeah. But I mean, I love Jack, and he's gotten us bands for very little money that were a high quality band. So it's really been a great I've enjoyed it over the past few years.
I think it's
So-
been
so-
wonderful. I think it's been wonderful, but if he's playing on the streets, he's here.
Yeah.
He's already playing here and he's already, I assume, getting paid a little bit.
Because it sounded like what was he was in front of Twilligers or something on the farmers market this last Wednesday? Is that correct or no? Am I wrong?
I'm
Was he
not
down by
sure.
Twilligers?
I'm not
Was
sure.
he-
I don't know. I know it was posted that he was down by Twilligers. I'm not sure.
That's what it
exactly.
sounded like. So maybe Twilligers can have him. I mean, talk to
He
Mike
was-
on there, whoever.
He was in front of Lisa Jelnick's right next
The
to the
clothesline?
clothesline. He was
Gotcha.
right in the corner. So
Well, I mean, that might work. You know, if went over good last Wednesday, maybe. But
Hey, if it's safe, it's safe. That's the
Right.
only thing.
right.
You have just up the street, across the Congregational Church, I don't know the lady's name, but she plays the bells out in her front yard every day at 2 o'clock,
Really?
I think it is.
Wow.
And handbells.
Huh,
and people will stop walking by. There have been some people I've seen stop in their car and listen to her.
that's cool.
Private lawn, she's just
Huh.
making music, you know,
That's cool. I didn't know that.
so.
I've seen some dinosaurs too.
Come on, Brian.
I just don't think that anyone from the city organized this, so I don't know, you know, it's not, I was aware that it was going on, but I mean, seriously, it happened at the very last minute and it was just like, John was actually trying to get a friend of his to come play guitar and I don't know how Jack ended up coming, but you know, I think that it's
We don't-
impossible
we
for
don't-
us to
Yeah,
take
we
that
don't
on.
coordinate. We don't coordinate as a city.
Right.
If we want to put a stop to it, we will. And Dan has already said, we're not going to get serious, you know, really about that unless they go crazy.
Yep.
And if something happens and you get a, you know, a gathering of 150 people and they shut off the street or something like that, that's crazy. We will respond to that. But business owners that want to have a dude sitting down, you know, with a guitar and a microphone, you know, 20 feet away from anybody, everybody says that's legal. Everybody says that's responsible.
Yep.
There you are. It's in the guidelines unless we go back to phase 3.
Right.
And
And
that's
how
like
many-
you said,
I worry about.
Right now, what is it? 10 people inside and 100 outside? Is that the number we're at? Or did
I'm
that,
not sure.
Yeah, I think that was Movies in the Park. You know, they have 250 people and, you know, they couldn't guarantee you that it would be 100 people or less.
Huh.
right?
Okay.
okay, well,
When people call to book the park, I ask them how many people they're gonna have and I let them know that they have to meet the governor's guidelines if they want to use the park for their family reunions or whatever. We've had a couple requests for kindergarten graduations and things like that, and I've had to tell them it just depends on where we're at the time with the governor's orders.
Yep. I had a question too. Did Dave ever get that fogger in for cleaning the restrooms up there or no? I know he ordered it online and hadn't got it yet.
Sanitizing fogger.
Yeah, did he get it yet?
I haven't heard.
Yep, I got it today and used it today.
Does it work pretty good then, does it, Dave?
Yeah, it seems to be. It's got a 1/3 bleach mix in it, and it's what CDC recommendation was, and made everything smell like a swimming pool.
there you go. That's what we want.
That means it's clean. Sweet.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad it worked out, David.
So them restrooms will be open back up at the pavilion and stuff then, and you'll be able to
Yeah,
clean
they
it?
have been. We've been wiping them out. We've been wiping them by hand every morning, so they've been open.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. That's all I was wondering. Very
Gail,
cool.
could you invite the gentleman that's giving you a hard time to our next council meeting so that he can have his input and talk with us directly instead of putting pressure on you?
Yeah, and I hate to say that it's like, I have a very good relationship with him. I just might feel it that it's kind of pressuring because it's like, you know, but I don't want you to think that, I mean, it's not like I don't have a backbone. If I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. But it just, that's where I feel like I'm kind of in a position where some people want to have it. And if we can't have it here, they want it somewhere else.
Yeah, and the default position is we cannot, as a municipality, sponsor, approve, or coordinate an event. We're not telling you not to have one, but we're telling you as a municipality, we cannot sponsor it, we cannot coordinate, we cannot hold it or advertise it. If you want to do that in the private sector, then go by CDC and the governor's guidelines, and we won't get in your way, which is more important.
Tell them we're just going on the governor's reporting of everything. So
Right.
it's we don't know, you know? We don't know what the heck's gonna go on next month. We're having to do what Whitmer's wanting to do.
Right.
Not on us, it's on with the state and governor and CDC and all that stuff. I'd love to have all that down here. It'll be a while before we get back to normal again, I think.
Well, it probably will be, but we can't control any of it, other than the
Right.
fact that what is going on in our city, the governor takes care of it. So
Right?
unless we
just hang-
have
all
more,
we got- all
unless
we
we
do is
have
hang it.
business to take care of, I think that we probably ought to adjourn.
Right.
Motion to adjourn.
I second that.
This meeting's adjourned.
All right.
Hey, can I,
Bye-bye.
before everybody takes off, if you're turning in a council packet, don't forget
Don't forget what?
signatures.
Oh, to turn it in.
Oh,
Yeah.
when's that due? When's that due by?
They are due by the August primary, which is the 6th or 7th of August.
Good. I got a little bit of time, so I got a little extension on that.
Okay.
I don't feel like going home door to door when everybody's scared to death of this virus. So
I don't have anybody yet, so it's very few signatures, so.
got ya. I'll be getting it in.
All right, have a good night.
Thanks, you too. See ya.
Good night. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.